Okay, I think we are live now. Mm. So, hello everyone, Namaste from India, and welcome to LiveWabiSabi podcast. I am your host Shilpi Gupta Shah, a women empowerment advocate, a digital community builder, and founder of LiveWabiSabi Life, a digital media storytelling platform dedicated to authentic human stories. But before any of those titles, I am mother of two sons. I am someone who has lived health challenges, career switches, and reinvented my life in my late 30s. And what I learned through that journey is very simple, that our lives are not defined by how perfectly we live, but how courageously we rise from the challenges life throws at us. And now coming back to the purpose of this podcast. So at Live Wabi Sabi podcast, we serve you a dose of self-love shots through conversations with inspiring women leaders, professionals, homemakers across globe who talk about their journeys of becoming the women they are today. And today we have with us a very special guest, Shairose Gulmani, resilience strategist for executive leaders. Welcome to Live Wabi Sabi podcast, Shairose. How are you feeling in this session today?
I am feeling great. It is so nice to be here with you and welcome everyone. It's an honor to be here, and I'm looking forward to the podcast.
Perfect, perfect. So, I would love if you introduce yourself to our viewers.
Sure. Well, I love the way that you threw in that in addition to everything you do, Silpi, you are a mother of two, and so am I. I have two boys who are adults actually now, Arman and Bijan, and a wonderful supportive husband, Arif, and my mom who has also survived, and so I'm blessed with a wonderful family. And in addition to, because of them, I have been able to do a lot in my life. And even in spite of the struggles, I have always been supported. I have more than 25 years of experience in entrepreneurship, education, executive coaching, and leadership development. And my work focuses on strengthening the capabilities that leaders need to perform under pressure, including resilience, emotional intelligence, and decision making clarity. Yeah, go ahead.
No. Please,
Um, yeah,
complete
I was
yourself.
just going to say, before focusing on this leadership strategy and speaking, I spent about 14 years as the founder and vice president of Vivito Cafes. It was a concept that my husband and I originated and started and established. And I have to tell you, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. But it shaped our character. It showed us that we are not easily made to fail, and that it really strengthened our resilience, our inner resilience. We had the cafes, and we ended up scaling to 3 cafes. We had
Wow.
them for 14 years, and in addition to the cafes, we also expanded in parallel of Oviedo wholesale and distribution business, where we served very high enterprise organizations such as Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Fred Hutch, and the like. And so it really helped us understand better that of delivering hospitality experiences within high performance institutional environments, which was really a wonderful um, way for us to enter that market.
Okay, interesting, very interesting. And you mentioned somewhere about pressure, Shiros, and I have read somewhere that pressure is a privilege, because if people don't have pressure, then then they don't have drive. I don't know how true it is, but I have read somewhere. And since you have had a long, diverse professional journey, being an educator, then business leader, then coach, caregiver. So, what was the defining moment when you realized your life work was about, helping people turn pressure into power?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. I have to tell you, the realization didn't come in one dramatic moment. It was more
Mhm.
a pattern that kind of revealed itself over time. Whether I was in the classroom teaching or I was in the business, doing oversight for operations, or I was coaching my clients. And most recently, after the death of my father, I took on the role of being the caregiver for my mom. I kept witnessing one thing in all of those roles and in all the people that I was working with, that people carry an intense amount of pressure, and
Mhm.
that pressure is there to perform, to lead, to make the right decisions, to kind of hold everything together. And at some point, it becomes a lot. And but what fascinated me was that the pressure itself didn't determine the outcome.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is, in some cases, when people have pressure, they collapse. They
Okay.
just cannot handle it, and they have anxiety or they have a breakdown. But for
Mhm.
others, what I saw, and I think what I'd like to say I live myself, is we become clearer, steadier, even stronger. Like, it
Mhm.
builds the resilience in us that helps us to realize we are more than what pressurists can make us be. It does not need to define us, it can refine us. And when you get that moment of clarity, that pressure does not have to break you, that it can actually serve you, it's wonderful because it doesn't you don't feel like you are now hostage to that pressure. You know that you can be free to continue doing what you love, and realize that you just have to pay attention to that pressure and manage it. And
Mhm.
you know, in as I've worked with pressure over time, I've come up with a lot of metaphors, right? And one of the metaphors that I've come up with pressure that has really resonated with me is
Mhm.
diamond. You know, diamonds and
That is
dust,
our
they come from the same material, carbon, right? But the
Mhm.
difference isn't the pressure. In fact, they're exposed to the same extreme conditions. The
Mhm.
only difference between diamonds and dust is the structure. And over time, I saw that the resilience that we have is equivalent to that structure. That's that inner capacity that each of us has that allows pressure to reorganize us instead of overwhelm us. And so I realized that it isn't just that people are under pressure, it's that pressure itself is neutral, and it's up to us how we manage it. We can either let it overwhelm us and take over, or it can refine us. So it can crush us or refine us. I choose to
Wow.
refine us.
Wow. And it totally depends on our mindset, right? How we are able to handle pressure, or to our inner capacity, as you said, because diamonds and dusts are you said, I mean, it's only the structure, I guess, difference in their structure which helps them
Exactly.
make. Yeah, wonderful. And Shairo's, like, I mean, I see, we all are surrounded with leaders out there, I mean, in our homes as well. So when it comes to my husband, I see him, a number of times under a lot of pressure. So sometimes I feel pressure is motivation. Sometimes we feel that, I mean, it's too much of pressure and we cannot handle it. So at what point does pressure stop being motivating and start affecting identity or health or relationships? I mean, how can someone realize early that is it good or is it bad?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question because, that, like you said, pressure isn't always a bad thing. Right? In
Mm-hmm.
fact, a certain amount of pressure is actually needed for our motivation levels to be high, right? It
Mm-hmm.
sharpens our focus. It helps us rise to challenges. And in a lot of ways, it's often what drives us to achieve our biggest dreams, right? We need that sense of adrenaline, that pressure to move forward, to actualize what our dreams are. And I think the shift happens when pressure stops being something you experience and starts becoming something you carry. So, what I mean by that is that it moves from the moment of intensity. So, it's not just this is a pressureful moment, but rather that it becomes a constant background state. It's always with us. We're always carrying it. And then it starts affecting our identity. It starts leaking into our health, our relationships, and our performance. Right. And
Okay.
by that time, a loud message comes that, your body tells you, hey, something's going on. You better start paying attention to your body.
Okay, understood, understood. So if it remains with you, yeah, I mean constantly, then it is not a good thing. Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
And you know what? People generally confuse resilience with staying positive. So, is there any difference between resilience and like staying positive every time? I mean, in your experience, what does real resilience actually look like? I mean, in especially on difficult days when nothing feels strong or stable.
Yeah. Well, I think with resilience, um, it, when you say resilience and positivity, real resilience actually does not has very little to do with positivity, right? Because resilience is quiet, it's honest, it's underneath, it's your inner capacity. So on difficult days, resilience looks much quieter and honest than people really expect. It's acknowledging what's happening to you instead of pretending that everything is fine. It's
Okay.
almost the ability to pause and feel what you're feeling. Like really take in what am I undergoing right now? What is my body feeling? What is my mind thinking? And then staying present with it rather than immediately trying to fix it or to push it away. And for
Mhm.
high performers, the instinct is usually to override these signals, and it's to push harder, to stay more productive, to work faster, to keep moving. But real resilience is the capacity to stay grounded when everything else feels uncertain and unstable. And I think that's where, when you really start learning about pressure and how it comes into your body first and into your mind second, and that we feel it in our shoulders, right? They tense, our jaw tenses. We feel uncomfortable. We feel irritable. Something is off. And quite often high performers, because they're busy people, they're very smart and capable people, they ignore those signals because they don't have the time. They have places to be, things to do, and so they ignore those signals and they push them away. But those signals are messages from telling us that we need to start paying attention to our body, that we need to start paying attention to our nervous system, that it needs what I call the three dynamic R's. It needs
Mhm.
rest, it needs recovery, and it needs
Okay.
recalibration.
Okay. Rest, recovery, and
Recalibration.
recalibration. Okay. So you mean that I mean, if your mind is constantly feeling pressure, I mean, your nervous system as well as your body, then there are some early emotional signals which people may ignore. But if they listen to it and if they try to act with 3 hours, then maybe they will be able to handle pressure better, right?
Yes, they just need to understand that their body is asking for them to just ground themselves, take a deep breath, gain clarity. Because when you have pressure, you lose your clarity. It narrows your thinking, right? And you're probably more irritated. You have less patience. You make decisions that used to feel easy and simple, and now they feel heavy and hard, right? And it's just because our body, our mind is so overtaken and overwhelmed with what's happening, because our body's thinking it's in threat, right? Our
Mhm.
body's thinking something bad's happening, something bad's going on. You're in, and so it reacts as if our body is in threat. And by just taking a pause and taking a simple breath in and a deep and slow breath out, we tell our body it's okay. We can slow down. We're not in threat. Everything's okay. And just allowing us to do that allows that clarity back in our mind to come back so that we can focus again, that we can make clearer decisions. And we're not reactive, but we are reflective.
Okay, okay, makes sense. So, so when you say rest, recovery, and recalibration, so I understand what rest is. I understand what recovery is. When it comes to recalibration, can you reflect your thoughts on recalibration?
Yeah. Well, when we it's like a reset, right? we're
Okay.
we're doing something, and it's like, think of when your car's engine fails, right? You need to, and there's fumes coming out, and you can see that in the hood of the car. You're going to have to park it. You're going to have to get a tune up, right?
Okay.
You're going to have to get that fixed. Otherwise you're not going to be able to drive that car. Your body
Mm-hmm.
is no different, right? Your body needs that same type of precision maintenance. And when that maintenance is neglected over time, that's when pressure stops working. You start bracing against pressure, and it stops working for you. Instead of, when we really pay attention to our bodies and we take care of it and we give it the rest, the recovery, and the resets that it needs from time to time, so the engine never dies, so to speak, then that car is, that body of ours is always going to be able to use that pressure to help, to have it work for us, to help fulfill our goals, to meet our demands instead of breaking us.
Wow, wow, so well said. Thank you so much for answering this question. And Kairos, if people will be listening to this podcast maybe today, or maybe when we are live, or maybe later on. So if they feel overwhelmed or stuck, or silently struggling with pressure, then what is one shift in perspective, maybe, or any small step you would invite them to take right now?
Oh, Shilpi, I'm so glad you asked this, because I see this so often in my clients. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody right now is listening right now and feels overwhelmed or stuck under pressure, the first shift I would want them to make, and I would invite them to make, is this: stop treating pressure as a personal failure. So many high performers, business leaders, executives, even parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Assume that if they feel overwhelmed, it means that they're not strong enough, that they're not capable enough, they're not
Mm-hmm.
resilient enough, that they somehow are the problem. And that's just not true, because pressure is a natural part of meaningful work. And it's a signal. When you have pressure, it's a signal that you care about something that you're building. And so that pressure is there not to not to make you feel bad. That pressure is there to say, that
Yes,
pressure
please.
is there to make sure that you understand that your body now might need a little bit of time to rest and recover and recalibrate, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've done nothing wrong. Pressure is an inevitable part of life. There's no way we can get around it. We cannot get rid of it. But what we can do is do something really simple and take a pause.
Okay, okay. It makes so much of sense. And I have noted both these points, that stop treating pressure as a personal failure, first and foremost. And then, second is, pressure is a signal that you care about your work, right?
Mhm.
Anything else which I missed?
Yeah, no. And I was just going to say that that pause that you take, it
Mm-hmm.
signals your nervous system that you're safe enough to slow down. And I
Okay.
think in the world that we live in, everything is about doing things faster, bigger, stronger, harder. Everything is overdosed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what we don't realize, that our body needs to settle. Our body needs to slow down. And when we do that, that simple pause that we take in a day when we're really, really busy or whatever, that makes all the difference, with which the clarity in our mind just becomes so much better, so
Mm-hmm.
much clearer, so much more resilient. right? In the way we see things. But more importantly, when we as leaders are regulated, when we ourselves are in calm and in grounded presence, everyone around us is impacted by it. It's so contagious. When they see a resilient leader, a grounded leader, all the people around them, the team members, they feel confident, have clarity, they feel grounded. And opposite, when they have a leader that is constantly under pressure, constantly irritable, constantly feeling overwhelmed, guess what? That's contagious too. And then
Yeah,
the team members feel it, right? And so resilience and grounded presence, leadership presence, really, it's just all about becoming steadier within the moment that you're in the pressure. It's like a diamond, right? It's
yeah.
you want that pressure. You don't Diamonds don't form by escaping pressure. They form
Mm.
because their structure allows them to hold steady within it. And resilience works the same way.
Wow, wow, wonderful, wonderful. It's been such a wonderful discussion around pressure, Shairos. Thank you so much for answering all the questions. And now coming to the live Wabi Sabi side of things. I mean, incomplete, impermanent, and imperfect in nature. So we generally talk about self love, and how does the self love look like in your real life? I mean, not the ideal version, but your honest self love shots. So, what do you do? How do you take your self love shots?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Then I love that expression, self-love shots, by the way. Um, I think in my earlier career or years of my career, when I was teaching at in my high school and Bellevue College and whatnot, I don't think I was doing self-love shots. I was
Okay.
so focused on on my work and on my ambition to grow and be what I thought was the leader that I wanted to be, that I ignored everything in my path, including my self-compassion and my self-care. And after many adversities after that, I learned that this is not the life that I signed up for. This is not what I wanted. And I then became very cognizant of how important self love shots are. So it can be something as simple as paying attention to your inner self, right? Your inner dialogue,
Mhm.
noticing when you're being harder on yourself than somebody that you really care about. Asking yourself during a busy day, maybe, what do I need in this moment? What do I need actually right now that would bring me joy, that would get me calm, that would make me feel alive, or that would just steady me, ground me? What do I need? Even just simple questions like that. Or some of my other self love shots are having a cup of tea, like seriously, having a cup, going outside and getting some fresh air,
Mhm.
limiting my exposure with people who drain me,
Mhm.
you know, taking a detox from our devices, right? Like
Okay.
digital detox, I call it, right? It's those little things that allow you to really pay attention to you and what you need and what your mind and soul and body are craving at that moment, and then just giving it some love.
Mhm. Shairos, you mentioned about tea. So,
Yeah.
in India, we are, I think 99.9% are, like tea lovers. So, from which part of world are you coming? Can you just tell to our viewers so that they know that, okay, tea is prevalent in this part of world as well?
Well, I was born in Uganda in East Africa, and
Okay.
I grew up in Canada and,
Mhm.
and then lived in the US. And now I'm migrating back to Canada since my dad died and I'm taking care of mom. Um, but tea has always been a very big part of our culture. It's a very big part of East African culture for sure. But our
Okay.
heritage is probably Indian. My great great grandmother was from
Mhm.
Gujarat. And so
Okay.
tea came, into our lives. And every night, my mom and I enjoy a cup of tea, or as we call it, chai. And so
Wow.
it's something that we look forward to. It's a bonding experience, and it's also
Yeah.
an experience where we just allow ourselves to unwind.
Yes, absolutely. And we have this Thai connection and we have this Gujarat connection as well because I am calling from Gujarat, Mundra,
Oh,
Gujarat. From
wonderful.
Adani Port, Mundra Adani Port.
That's
So I
awesome.
mean, I'm glad that we met. So the now next question coming your way, Shairos, is what's one song that instantly makes you feel unstoppable?
Oh, that's easy. It's called Diamonds, of course. It's by Rihanna. And I
Okay.
love the song because she's a real life example of what I talk about,
Mm-hmm.
with my diamonds metaphor and the pressure. That pressure, like for Rihanna, didn't have to break her, and it didn't break her. In fact, it's revealed her brilliance, it revealed her shine. And that's exactly what pressure is meant to do, right? If we let it and if we manage it and we don't ignore it, right? So every time I hear the chorus from the song Diamonds, which I think it's shine bright like a diamond, it
Mm-hmm.
celebrates the inner light that all of us have. Even
Correct.
when life feels intense or challenging, we still have that inner capacity, that inner light to shine. And so, honestly, when that song comes on, I smile because it's kind of like the soundtrack to my work, because
Okay.
resilience is really about learning how to shine under pressure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, is there any specific book, Shiros, which has changed your perspective on life, or healing, or self worth, or pressure? Is there any specific book will you like to mention?
Yeah, I mean, I love books, and there's a lot of books that I've read, but there is one book that early on when I read it really impacted me. And it really actually um, changed the way I saw resilience. And that
Mhm.
was a book called Man's Search for Meaning by
Okay.
psychiatrist Viktor Frankl.
Hmm.
And um, and what really stayed with me after reading his book is that even in the hardest moments, he was in a concentration camp, right?
Yeah.
Even in the hardest moments, we still get to choose our response.
Hmm.
We
Hmm.
still have choice, and that our attitude really makes a difference when those hard moments come. We
He
can,
he continuously, what I have read in the book is, I think he constantly thought about his wife, right? That she is in a better state or position.
yeah, yeah. And
That
the
is the
other
kind
book,
of response.
yeah, the other book that I really enjoyed was Brene Brown. I always liked Brene Brown, and that was The Gifts of Imperfection. And I think
Okay.
she hit it on the nail because she talks about reframing the idea that our worth isn't something we earn through performance or perfection. It isn't. It's actually what we begin with. It's there right from the beginning of our journey. We have that worth, right? That gift. And along the way, it gets imperfect or whatever. And then it's harder for us to realize it. And that's when I say, that pressure is not a sign of failure, right?
Hmm.
It is not your fault. You are good enough. It is something that is there, and we just need to learn to manage it. And manage it we can.
Hmm. Yes, yes, absolutely, we can. And after watching this podcast, I think many people will be benefited by the pointers we discussed on pressure. So now I would love to ask you that if you could, like borrow any superpower for 24 hours, so what would it be, and why, and how you are gonna use it, maybe?
Just 24 hours? um,
You might misuse it. That's why I asked
that's
for
true.
24 hours only. If it's good, then maybe we can give you more.
Yeah. I think it would be to slow time. I find that as my life continues, we just we just have so little time. There's so much we want to do and the impact we want to make, and 24 hours just doesn't seem enough. So I'd invite people to have more time, to slow time, and then to use that time to pause, right? To reconnect with themselves, with the people that they love, to do what feels really important to them in their lives, not to miss those opportunities because life is so short. And honestly, I'd do the same, right? I would probably pick up a good book, have some chai, you know. Yeah, I would call
Books,
a friend.
books and chai and favorite song. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, diamonds.
So, who is your biggest cheerleader, Shairose? I mean, your biggest support system. Who will you give this award to?
Oh, 100% it would be my 2 sons and my husband. Without
Okay.
them, nothing I do is possible. They
Mhm.
support me in ways that that are healing, honestly. Because even when I am really hard on myself, and sometimes I get that way, and I forget, and I don't practice what I preach sometimes, and I and the pressure overwhelms me. They're there to take care of me, to say it's time
Wow.
to rest. It's time to rest. You're
How
good,
sweet.
right? And so yeah, they're my biggest cheerleaders. I love them dearly, and they are why I'm here.
Wow, wow. And any, though you have said so many motivational things, I mean, in last, I mean, 15, 20 minutes or more than 30 minutes, it's now more than 30 minutes. So, any motivational message or quote will you like to share?
Yeah, no, I would just underscore that
Okay.
pressure doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It just
Mm-hmm.
means that you're doing something meaningful. And we live
Perfect.
in a world that asks a lot of us, right? And it's not easy to believe that we have it's not easy to believe that we have to carry everything ourselves or carry or do everything perfectly. But
Mm-hmm.
real strength doesn't come from pretending that pressure isn't there. By
Absolutely.
ignoring pressure and pushing through it or pushing it away or just, you know, letting it be a blind spot, that does not serve us.
It
Pressure
should be
serves
to
us
accept.
when we learn to meet it, right? With
Yeah.
steadiness
Yeah.
and compassion for ourselves.
That's
So
the true essence of Wabi Sabi also, that if you accept things as they are, then ultimately, like you are at peace with yourself first and foremost, right?
exactly.
So
Exactly.
how can people connect with you, Shai Rose? I mean, but this will be a gift for our listeners if they wish to connect with you. So do you have any free resource or free buy or any offering will you like to share with the community?
Sure. Um, if if the pressure in your life or business has been making you feel heavy, I'd love to offer and the listeners of the Live Wabi Sabi show to turn that pressure into clarity, strength, and leadership. And I'm offering a complimentary Diamond Resilience Circle, which is a small, intimate group coaching experience where I will
Mhm.
share practical resilience tools and help you work through that pressure so that it doesn't overwhelm you and
Wow.
rather starts working for you. And all those who are interested in joining this Diamond Resilience Circle, they can simply send me a message on LinkedIn with their name
Mhm.
and the word diamond, and I'll personally reach out to them. Sorry, their name and their email and the
Mhm.
word diamond. And then I'll personally reach out to them via email and reserve a spot for them in the next circle that
Perfect.
we do.
Perfect. So if you have any link or something, then maybe you can go ahead and later post it on the YouTube live link so that people
Sure.
have a direct access to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Of
thank you.
course.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shairos, for your words of wisdom. I mean, it was a pleasure, hosting you. And to everyone who watched us live or will be watching it later, I wish to let you know that through Live Wabi Sabi Life, I work to create spaces for empowering women by sharing lived experiences of women leaders, professionals, through features, magazine reflections, podcasts, and conversations. Because I feel that every woman carries a story that has the power to inspire someone else. So, if you want to share your journey and wish to support another woman's journey, then comment below and we would love to connect with you and feature you because our mission is together we rise and shine. So thank you so much everyone for being here today. Thank you so much, Shairos, for your
Absolutely.
time. And we will see you later. Bye, guys. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, so now